What's up, guys? Let's do some railroading. It has been a long time since we've been in Run 8, but I think it's time to move some freight, right? We got the Q647 on the amazing Hot Rail Simulations Fitzgerald Sub DLC. Q647 is an old school train back from the early 2000s. Ran Chicago to Waycross, just a good old slop freight, like nothing but Canadian traffic and lumber and tank cars and that sort of things. It wasn't anything exceptional or out of the ordinary, just a regular run-of-the-mill slop freight, but it was a little bowling ball from time to time, like 10,534 tons, 72 loads, 33 empties, and we're 6,612 feet long. That's decently long for a Q647 back in the day. Like, usually it was around a mile, give or take. It was around a mile, give or take, but well, get me back in here. Oh, come on. Why are you being a pain? There we go. All right, now we're in. Yeah, decently long, 6,000 feet. A 6, almost a 7,000 foot Q647 is pretty long, yeah. All right, so I think we're set and ready to go. Let's go ahead and tone up the dispatcher through channel 14. There we go, and tone up 5. Tone 5, we should get him. I think he's active, right? He's going. Yeah, all right, he's turned on. All right, say Q647 loaded up and ready to go south siding, because we're kind of into south siding. Seed signal indication. All right, let's go ahead and open the throttle a little bit, knock the brakes off. Ease out the independent. See, we're moving. Slow loading GEs. 0.9 HPT, pretty common for back in the day. Let's give her some sand. She's starting to struggle a little bit. A little bit. We stretched out the slack. There we go. We're starting to gradually get it. Let's watch those amps. Make sure we don't get a knuckle or pull apart. Once we get that bottom moving, we'll be all right. There we go. All right, I think we're good right here. Let's go check her out. Nice. 647s, before they changed the symbols, right? So they changed the whole symbol system. For you guys that are rail fans, I don't know when they did that. Maybe it was a few years back, but like now the Q trains are M trains and the intermodals are I's and all this stuff. I don't know why they did that. It doesn't make sense. But prior to the symbol change, the 647, I dare say, was probably one of the oldest continuous symbols that they had. There was a few trains back in the day that had symbols that were like untouched for decades. I think 647 was from the late 80s through the 90s, through probably all the way up until the symbol change. So you're talking, what, 20, 30 years maybe? Something like that. It was a long time. Really super long time. All right. I think we're good. Let's give her another notch here. Track speed's 10 mile an hour through here, 10 mile an hour track. That's going to be locals cars over here on the side, 720. Pretty accurate. Like it usually, of course, it always had log cars. They were different. They were like, they were Georgia Pacific. They're like a spine log car or something, or a skeleton log flat or something, whatever they call them. And then you had wood chip hoppers and then boxes. I don't ever remember dealing with any tanks on that job ever. Like we didn't have any places that took tanks, but you know, never say never. I'm not really sure where these tanks are going in game, but Nice. All right, we're good to go. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of DCS here lately. I've enjoyed DCS. It's one of those games where it's all or nothing. Like, you can't dabble in DCS, especially with a high fidelity aircraft. Like, you really have to kind of jump into it to be able to do anything with it. You know, if I were to play it just once in a while, I would never remember anything about that game. So it's been a lot of fun. We'll be doing more in there. We'll be doing more Run 8, that sort of thing. If you guys didn't catch it, I was on the Closed Traffic podcast yesterday. Great group of guys. I've known them for years. I was honored to be on there with them, that they wanted me to come on there and hang out and talk with them. And we talked about gaming and simulations, flight sims, DCS, Microsoft. What else? Run 8, train simulation. We talked about all sorts of things for almost darn near 2 hours. Like, the time flew by. Like, it's crazy how fast the time went by, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could sit and talk about gaming for hours on end. You know, those of you that know me know that I've always been into gaming big time ever since the earliest days. So it's a topic that, like, I love talking about. So if you guys want to go check them out and show them some love and support, it would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, they're a great group of guys, and I really did enjoy it. I'll see about putting a link somewhere, maybe down below in the description or somewhere. I don't know. I'll get y'all a link somewhere so you can go check it out. But yeah, we talked about a lot of things on there. It was a lot of fun. Definitely discussed DCS and like how you can't part-time it. All right, we're coming up to Elm Street here. So we're still in the south siding. Elm Street was, I think they would swap, like usually we swapped in front of the yard office, somewhere up there in the west siding. I think they would pull down here and swap at Elm Street every once in a while, maybe in South Manchester. It just depended, right? It was so fluid. It depended on like if the outbound was on duty, you know, how quick they would be able to go, you know, what traffic was like in the area, you know, in the yard, that sort of thing, you know, like really determine how you were going to swap, if that makes sense. So yeah, for us, a large majority of the time, I remember swapping in front of the yard office a lot. I remember like swapping in the west siding a lot. They would take you down the main in the new way. So in game, it's a little bit off. It's got this way labeled as the new way between like the west. This would be the west siding here. This would be the start of the south siding. It's got that label as the new way. That's not the new way. The new way was over here between 5th Avenue and North Manchester. I don't know why it's called the new way. I've seen maps where it was labeled as the new way all the way back into like the 1930s. So I don't know what it's new compared to, but it was always called the new way. All right, we got a medium clear South Manchester siding to the main. Now, that's another thing in real life. This is the point where we would go to the Fitzgerald Sub dispatcher. I think he was the AK back in the day. I can't remember because those symbols changed so much. Those desk codes. I think it was the AK, and believe it or not, like back in the day, this territory right here from North Manchester down to South Manchester was actually the BG dispatcher. That was the Manchester Sub guy. He had the territory from here, from South Manchester up through the yard and then around towards Atlanta. So it was the BG. So if you were a Lineville side train coming from Birmingham, you would have to get on the radio and talk to the BG, and then and then they would have to talk to the AK. It was kind of a little bit convoluted how it was set up, but all right, got the medium clear. Of course, another signal with a doll arm. I think someone left a comment a while back asking about doll arms. It basically means that there's a track that intervenes between the signal and a track governed by the signal. So this signal right here, this head here would be for the main, but you see you got the siding in between. So it's basically saying that it governs this track right here. Right? That's like the Cliff Note version of it. They were, doll arms are very, very common in the Atlantic coastline, the old ACL days. And SAL. SAL had them, the Seaboard Airline had them as well too. I don't think they do them anymore. Like, they don't do any new doll arm installations, right? I think that's a thing of the past. All right, we're starting to get into the bulk of the grade. Like I say, we're 0.9 HPT train. DC power. So traction motor temps are going to be a thing that we have to kind of keep an eye on. They're 186 degrees Fahrenheit each going up. It shouldn't be a problem as long as you don't stay in the short time rating too long. Or like, it shouldn't be a big deal. Honestly, and I think I've talked about this before, in my experiences, like I said, but take what I say with a grain of salt, but I never remember my engineer looking at me and going like, hey, we're getting really close on this short time rating. Like, it was never a thing. It was kind of the deal where you ran until it broke, right? Like, I never remember ever having a discussion about short time ratings or traction motor temps or anything like that. And I definitely remember trains that we probably far exceeded the short time rating going up. Like, one in particular, I remember going up grade at like 4 mile an hour with 2 Rent-A-Wrecks. One of them was an old rebuilt SD45, like I think it was the HLMX or HLCX or whatever they were. They were maroon. I think they were maroon, and they had like the bluish nose or whatever on them. And I want to say our leader was an old MPI units, like a rebuilt SD40 or something. But man, they pulled like no tomorrow at 4 mile an hour. And we ran 4 mile an hour for a long ways. Like, I know we blew that short time rating out of the water and then some, but it was so bad. I was literally expecting like pieces of traction motor to start falling out from under the locomotive because it was bad. It was bad. It was making all kind of noises. It was making all kind of grinding noises and stuff like that. I'll never forget the stretch that we were going so slow. We were doing 4 mile an hour. It was behind some houses. And the yards like literally went like pretty much right up to the tracks. There's no trees or anything. So you could look off to the left. I could look out my window going that direction. I could see the houses plain and the doors and stuff. And I never forget, there was 2 girls that were sunbathing in their backyard on a blanket, and we went through there at 4 mile an hour, and it took us forever to get by, and like the wheels were slipping, it was making this grinding noise, and the turbos were screaming, and you know, those EMDs were roaring, and I remember both of them just sat straight up and just sat there and just watched. We went by it like a snail's pace. It was hilarious. But yeah, I think we probably, if it had been nighttime, we probably would have woke the dead. All right, let's give her a little bit more throttle here. So yeah, we're getting into the grade 0.97. 0.97 to the top of the hill up here, Dun Gap. Now watch our amps. Yeah, our amps are getting a little bit high. You know what? We're going to back off a little bit there. Never mind. We're good. Someone's got a medium approach medium, really? Okay. Now watch those amps so we don't get a pull apart. Like, we've got more throttle we could use, but you start flirting with disaster, you know. We're already at almost 1400 amps. See what our traction motor temps look like. 236. I don't know what they peak out at. I'll be honest, I don't know. Like I said, traction motors were never a thing we talked about. Like, it's just what it was, right? That and like horns. You know, I know there's a lot of horn gurus out there. They know way more about horns than I would ever know. You know, running a train is another thing I've touched on. You know, we never talked about like what kind of horn we had, or we didn't know. Like 99% of the time, I worked with old head conductors and engineers that really couldn't even tell you what kind of locomotive you were on. It was either a 6-axle, a GE, an EMD. Like, they knew that, but they couldn't tell you if it was like a a C40-8, or you know, they just didn't know. Like, it's just something that they didn't. You know, it was only it was like on an as-needed basis. You know. And as far as like dispatchers talking to you about your power, they never really cared either. It was either like how many 6 axles you got, or like I can tell you many times I hear the engineer, an old head engineer, going like, "We got 2 big jacks on the head end, which is 2 6 axles." But yeah, she's struggling a little bit here. When we get through Dunn Gap here, we'll be all right. This is true life. This is pretty much true life. This is the way it was. Like, you didn't get in a hurry to get anywhere. You know, it's like they gave you the bare minimum of power to get you over the road. You never had excess power. All right, Dunn Gap, pretty much dead on the way it was in real life. Yeah, just a big cut through the mountain. I think in game the grade kind of crests a little bit south of here. Like in real life, it crested right here at the cut, but I think in game it goes on a little bit further. It's already slacked up. It's 0.48%, but. 1400 amps, yeah. Yeah, I kind of sweat it a little bit at 1400 amps. I mean, we could come out and throttle another notch, but we're already going so slow. It's always really bad when you're cresting that grade, like a steep up and a steep down, because you've got the weight of the train pulling one way and you got the power pulling against it the other way. Really easy to get you to pull apart just a few cars behind the engine. I think we're good. I want to look at something real fast, since we already kind of know. We had a car back there with stuck brakes, so it looks like, yeah, it released. All right, amps are coming on down. That's pretty cool view there. I like that. I've always liked wide cabs elephant style. I don't know what it is about that appeals to me, but it looks pretty cool. All right, we're fine now. We made it. Gain a little bit more speed, we'll start coming out with throttle. 299. Nice, yeah. Yeah, you literally just ran until it broke. You ran until things broke back then. Like I said, short time ratings, I never ever remember that being a thing. And I know they were a thing, like they absolutely were a thing, but like I said, if we'd called the dispatcher up and said, hey, we need to stop because of our short time rating and cool the traction motors, they would have laughed. They would have laughed at us. They'd been like, what? Get off my railroad. Out west, it's a different thing, though. Like, they're probably a lot more accustomed to having to deal with that, whereas for us, it was kind of hit and miss, right? Depending on what kind of power you had. right, so I gotta think, how do I want to do this? A lot of it's going to depend if we're going to meet someone at Woodland. We could meet someone there. We used to meet people there all the time in real life. It's one of those regular places, but we'll see what we got up there. I don't think Dynamics is not going to do it alone. Like, we're going to need some air up under it. I'm almost certain, but I think we still got to go around another curve before we can see that. Yeah. We do have 2 meets, so we could very well go into Woodland. It depends. Get rid of that sand. All right, what do we got? Advanced approach, distant to Woodland, so we're gonna go down the main. That's cool. All right, well, let's get a little air. It's one of those deals where I think a minimum is going to be like good, but like a full 10 pounds is going to be too much. We'll see what she does. I like this spot up here. Coming up to the DD, I think it's around the curve here. Yeah, minimum doesn't look like it's quite enough. 2 more should be good, but I think 10 is going to be too much. Let's see what this does. All right, there's our 50 on a diamond board. We're not going to worry about that. That's not going to be a thing for us. Yeah, I just love this stretch through here. In fact, let's go check it out. I'm trying to see what side is going to be the lit side. I think this is going to be the good side right here. That's pretty cool. I love that. She just needs to be bouncing around more, like doing more movement. Nice. All right, let's hop back in. Yeah, 8's perfect with 1 notch of throttle. What's our board here? Say 45. Okay, yeah, that's a little different. Back in the day, you used to do 50 all the way to the south end. This is a 2005, so it changed about that time. Prior to that, it was 50 all the way. So we'll come downhill to Woodland, and then it flattens out. Flat as a pancake. It's like a perfect shelf, the complete length of the siding, right? And then as soon as the siding stops, it drops right back off. Like, they couldn't design that any better. I'm sure it was just a fluke, but you can see where the grade levels out right here. You see it's coming down and it levels out. And Q647 got approach north end of Woodland. 9022 south outs. So we're going to be meeting someone here. We'll grab a little bit more air here in just a second. Pretty decent horde, I like it. Man, he is up close on that gate, right? He's fixing to have his bumper taken off. Say bye-bye, bumper. Let's go ahead and count that off. At least have a little bit of an idea.
Detector, milepost 783.3. No defect. Total axle 432. End of transmission.
All right, let's release the air. I couldn't imagine like these guys running with nothing but air. It blows my mind. Like I don't even know how they could have done that. That's why it wasn't art. It was a true art back in the day. Running with nothing but air. No dynamics, no nothing. Just pure air. Make sure our time's not slipping up on us over there. Spur's got places to be, baby. Got places to go. So I think we're going to be meeting 592 here. I think that's who we're meeting. I don't even know where he's at. Hopefully not too far away. Yeah, I was hoping he was kind of close, but there we go. That might be him. Maybe. I don't know who his lead engine is. All right, well, we just got a little bit till we're in the clear. He'll be good to go. We'll just be able to do an in and out. We may have to pull on a little bit through here. We'll see. We'll keep going with it. Yeah, Woodland's a pretty cool little location. Good railfan spot. Come by and approach. Approach medium. Okay, that's our guy. He's on the distant. He's on the distant to Woodland. Oops, it was already out. Never mind. All right, we'll ease around up there and stop. He's coming by the old Woodland wood yard right now, just past the south end. You got that straight stretch, and there's a little overhead bridge there, and then you got the double head signal. Just off on the right was a pulpwood yard. It went back up in there. Yeah, 592 may be a little draggy. He's coming uphill. It's a good thing about the northbounds didn't have nearly the same tonnage as the southbounds did. Usually they were a lot lighter, so they didn't have as much trouble, but... I was looking for my whistle post for that first crossing because I don't want to block those. Should we just ride around it? Yep, there we go. Alright, let's just feather independent. Alright, just a little bit further. I want to try to peek that signal before we stop. There he is. Man, he's getting it. He's pulling in really good. Yeah, he must not be that heavy. All right, there you go, 592. He's got his BNs on the head end. He'd set those off in Birmingham. There, we'll keep using around up there. Got all his molten sulfur tanks too. Empty ones. They're all empties going back north. .592 was a lot like 647, minus the lumber and stuff, but it had a good bit of Canadian stuff in it too. I don't ever remember seeing auto racks in it or anything like that. Usually just regular old slop freight. Nice. Got solid, the real cold reefers. Who remembers those? You used to see them a ton back in the day, right? Ton back in the 80s. All right, there's his bottom. Okay, we can't just flat out go because we may not have light. All right, 592, train looks good. Marker's hanging. See if we get a light up here. We may not. We may not get a light. Tone dispatcher up. He may be holding us here for 2. See what he says. Let's annoy him. Give us a light, dispatcher. We ready? You heard us. Oh, we just called you, dude. Like, you heard us the first time. We literally just called you. You're getting snarky with us, right? Yeah, we don't have a light. We're going to be sitting here for someone else. Yeah, we sure are. He's going to hold us for someone else here. Oh, come on. Let's go, dude. All right, well, I guess we'll stop here. Basically what I'm doing, I'm just feathering the independent on and off just a little bit, just lightly. All right, there we go. Now we can go full independent. No need to set the brakes up. It's perfectly flat here. It's not going to go anywhere, and we'll just hang out here and wait. Just hang out and wait. We'll edit this part out. Magic of editing, you guys won't have to wait. Nice. Woodland's a cool location too. You see where the grade drops off right there. That's pretty cool. I love that shot. All right, well, we'll hang out here for a bit, and we'll see who we're going to meet, hopefully sooner than later. All right, I think this is our guy right here. We've been waiting a hot minute. Yeah, it is. All right, someone's fixing to crest a grade here. I think this should be the X001 light engine move. People don't think about light engine moves. Like, you never see that in Run 8, but X001 was like one of our really regular trains that we ran dang near every day. There was an X001. Regular job. Sometimes it ran on its own. Sometimes it would be combined with a train. It depended on how many crews we had available and like traffic and congestion and that sort of thing. But yeah, this is X001. This thing, if you want a train that will work you to death but make you learn your territory, X001 is the way to go. That's a pretty cool scene. I like that. There you go. X001, guys. I think he's got like, what, 8 engines? It was always like 8 engines. I don't ever remember it being more than 8. This guy would run Waycross to Birmingham. Waycross to Birmingham, light engines. If you were broke down on the side of the road and you needed power, you could not take power off of this thing. Like, they would never let you use power off of it. That's pretty good. X001 train looks good. Markers hanging. All right, we've been hanging out here a hot minute, and it's going to take us a while to get to Talbotton because of that grade. Like, that's going to be a really hard pull for us. So I think we're going to end it right here. Anyway, love all you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the rails next time. Peace. Powerful. I don't think. Oh, what was that? Oh, it was horrible. Slam on the brakes. If you're not sitting down, you are now. What? No, big cat. No, stop. Oh no, no, kitty, go. No.